here today to the old Hartford Police Department, 50 Jennings Road. This is our real-time crime center. What you're seeing is a lot of technology, and we're going to get into it today and explain a lot of things. I want to thank everyone for coming, the mayor and our council people and people from our community that are coming here to see what we have. This has been a long, soft opening for us. This is not like we plugged it in and turned it on today. It's been months and months in the making to get this stuff up and rolling and get it to be fully functional for our officers in the field. But with that, I'd like to introduce the Honorable Mayor Luke Bronin, who has a few words for you to say.
Thank you very much, Chief and Council President. Clark, why don't you come up and join, and Councilman Jimmy Sanchez, come on up too. This is, you'll get to see everything that's here. But as we talk about what we need to do to make our streets safer and our neighborhoods stronger, a big part of it is making sure that our policing, our police officers have the tools they need to be targeted, to be strategic, and to be fast. And that's what this center is designed to do. This is bringing together a number of departments, regionally, the local, state, federal collaboration, but it's also bringing in a range of technological tools so that our police officers who are out in the field have the benefit of the most modern technology available to make sure they're getting real-time information about individuals or groups that pose the most direct threats to public safety. We're not measuring success by the number of arrests we make. We're measuring success by making our communities safer. And a big part of that is targeting our police time and resources on the individuals and groups that pose the most direct threat to public safety. So the tools here are a huge part of modern community policing. I have a huge amount of respect and gratitude to the chief and his team for the work that they've done in setting this up. I'd love to welcome our council president and Councilman Sanchez to say a few words if they'd like to as well.
Thank you, Mayor. In addition to being council president, Councilman Sanchez and I are co-chairs of Public Safety and Quality of Life. So this is a great day for the city of Hartford with the technology that the police department has to actually tackle crime and increase the quality of life for our residents. So I'm happy that this is in the city of Hartford and under the direction of Chief Avella. Thank you, Chief. And I look forward to great things that this can do to help out our city and our police department. Thank you.
And just to add to it, I just thank you, Chief Avella, for working on this project. It's important to have advanced technology, especially for the cyberspace fraud and credit fraud and what have you. The crime right now is at a high level of, let's say, internet problems and issues. So thank you again, and it's a great opportunity to have this crime scene develop.
Chief, you want to say a few words?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, everybody. This is the first opportunity we've actually shown it to the media. We've had our community, several community groups walk through here, and they all accepted it and acknowledged it and loved it. But it's glitter. But I want to show you, and you're going to have a lot of opportunity to talk about data, the intelligence, and the world of sensors out there, which is important. And sensors are cameras, or there's any type of shot spotter technology, and how we blend that with intelligence and data for our purpose. It's like the mayor said, it's not volumes of arrest here that make a difference. It's the right person for the right crime. It's not 5, 10 people, it's that one person that we're interested in. And that's the way we've been trending in law enforcement, looking at the right people. But that involves all our federal agencies, all our state agencies, and all our police units and divisions. This is a multiplier for us, a force multiplier for the police department. But it's no replacement for that blue uniform on the street that can think and talk and walk through any kind of situation. But we want to arm that officer not only with what he's wearing, but electronic information as soon as we can for him and his commanders to make a better decision, whether they're just a crime that's reported, an area that has a troubled spot, and or a strategic situation which causes us a lot of manpower. And there's some interesting aspects about lowering this to our community level and accepting videos from our community and really integrating this crime center with our community. So I'm sure you can have questions. I am going to have Sergeant O'Hare walk you around and show you what's here. The mayor insists upon transparency, and we enjoy that. You're going to see a lot, you're going to understand a lot, and we look forward to your questions.
Say just two quick things to follow up on what Chief said. First of all, you all know we have a staffing shortage in our police department. We're down over 100 officers from where we ought to be. We are working hard to try to make up that ground. We accelerated by 2 months the most recent class that we brought in. We're going to try to bring another larger class on board later this year. It's critical to get us up to the numbers, both so we can cut down overtime and so that we have enough officers that they can be out in the street, face to face, doing that community policing, block by block, that we all want our officers to be able to do. But this is a complement to the officers that are out in the field. This gives them additional tools, additional information. They can respond much more quickly, in a more informed way, in a targeted, strategic way. So these things go hand in hand. Growing our police force with time, but also modernizing our police force to make it that much more effective. If I can say one other thing, as Chief Foley just said, we value transparency and we want to share all of this.
Started this center, Chief Rabella's vision a few years ago. We started bringing all this this data in that we had. Everything was siloed. We started opening up a lot of doors, knocking down some of these barn doors, getting everything into one area, kind of hubbing it together, vetting it, and then sending it back out to our officers, our businesses, our schools, based on necessity, with things that we think they need to know to arm themselves to protect our cities better. Not just our city. We do a lot of regional work out of here. It's not just a Hartford Police Department venture. It's we lean on our federal partners, our state partners. We have a lot of other municipalities involved in this, and I can talk about some of that stuff very soon. They're up here every other week with meetings, but they're up here every day. Pretty much, we're putting out work products because a lot of the stuff is related back to Hartford. If we find a nexus, we're going to help Enfield, we're going to help East Hartford, we're going to help West Hartford, Manchester, Bloomfield, Windsor, you name it. We're going to get involved because we're here to, we know that Hartford is not as small as it looks on the map. So I'm going to start you over here. Basically, this is our first round. What you're going to see is all these screens act as a different component of the room, and we can move these around at will based on missions. I'll talk about some of the cameras in a minute when it comes to that. Right here is a scrolling intelligence board that we decided, actually this was drafted in 2009, this idea. We were able to get this up and running finally last Friday night. This actually plays over at our police department as well, in the report writing room, in the officers' room, so they can see, they can have visual cues on some of the hottest things that are happening within our city, but also from, like I said, our surrounding towns. You'll see some flyers up here from New Britain, from West Hartford, from other towns. If they have something they want our officers to see, they'll give it to us. It doesn't replace the wanted flyer that we give out to our officers. Basically, it strips it down. It gives them a visual cue, and it's constantly running, and they come down when things are no longer relevant. But if you see this day in, day out, it starts to stick in your head, and that's how I operate. I like to see things, so I figured this is what we do with our officers in the field. As soon as something comes out through our email system that we find would be beneficial for them to see, we strip it down, we put it up here, and it's playing 24/7, 7 days a week, here, there, and in some of the rooms around the PD. I'll continue to go around here. We have up here, we have our CAD system right here. Basically, this tells us all our running calls. We act off this because in addition to doing investigative support here, we do real-time support. So if we have what we call a priority A call, or something that's serious in nature, somebody physically hurt, maybe a robbery, a mugging, a burglary, things of that nature, active calls, we can physically see that up on the screen based on priority, and we can start working on that. An example of that would be, we had an alarm call the other day at a store on Park Street. We saw that come in as a hold-up alarm. We immediately pulled out cameras that we had in the vicinity and localized on that store that had the hold-up alarm. We were able to watch that store prior to officers getting there and keep an eye on it. It turns out it was a false alarm. What they'd done was inside, and Chief Bouillac was responding to this. They had moved the desk and they triggered the alarm. But had that been a real incident, we were already watching that in real time, providing information to the officers on the ground through our radio system, because we have radio comms up here, direct access to all our officers in the field. Let them know what we see so they can know what's going on before they get there. I'll continue around the room. I just want to say one thing real briefly too. You see the setup over here is different than the setup on the other side of the room. This is a backup dispatch center. So in the event that something would happen at 253 with our dispatch center, they can move over here seamlessly, jump on these computers, and these are dispatch computers as well, so that we wouldn't miss a beat. We'd have them over here in a few minutes and they'd be running our dispatch center again. In the past, we've done that and sent that over to East Hartford. Now we're over here again. We can do it within our city. And they were able to identify probability predictive analysis on when a burglar was going to hit a certain area. And actually, Steve came up with this. This is the map. This says the time of the day, what day they were hitting, what location. So they drew this little circle here. And within one day, Steve, within one day, this gentleman was caught in a burglary within this circle. Turns out he lived in the neighborhood, so he was arrested based on predictive analysis stuff done through our GIS system, integrating all our mapping, integrating our data from our crime data from our records management system, in a cooperative effort with Bloomfield Police Department. So that just shows you the success we have with this stuff, and the fact that we know we're not just Hartford. That's just a prime example of that. We can do other things with this. We can look at heat maps for other crimes. We can publish this stuff. This document was actually published to our patrol officers that day, and within that day, that party was caught. So that's how fast some of this stuff can hit the ground. What we have here is what's known as a NIBIN chart. We use IBM i2 software, analysis software. When in the past you used to have to run down a name or a party or a vehicle, go to DMV to find something, go to our records management to find something, go to another database or another PD to find something, i2 brings that all together for us. So what would usually take 6 hours, 7 hours, maybe 12 in the past, can take 4 or 5 minutes now. We basically plug in names with all the data we already have on certain things, priority crimes, gun crimes, things like that, violent crimes, and we could create these charts. This is actually known as a NIBIN chart. These are ballistic evidence charts. Shell casings recovered at a scene, they go down to the state lab, and our turnaround's been typically 3 to 5 days. That's how fast they are nowadays. And we get these back. So we can see that this gun was used in this many shootings. So we know this gun, it's like a fingerprint, NIBIN. So it localizes to a specific firearm, not just the make or model. So if we recover that firearm and we recover somebody with that firearm, we now have a primary suspect in a lot of shootings, and I'll talk about some success stories with that. But we've done a lot of good cases with this stuff. This goes to show us we have certain individuals, a very small population, doing a large number of the crimes. So somewhere between 1% and 2% of our violent offenders are the ones committing most of the crimes, or 1% to 2% of our population. So the myth being that everybody, that Hartford's violent. No, we have a few violent individuals who commit a lot of violent acts, and stuff like this helps us target specific. We no longer fish with a net, we fish with a spear. We go in and get them. We utilize our federal partners or our state partners. We do a lot of large-scale cases on this. We've done had some success with our Project Longevity cases recently where we did this as well. And we actually took out a group, the last group we took out for this, a small group of 9 gentlemen responsible for 17% of the shootings citywide. So if that doesn't show you this, that we're dealing with a very few number of violent individuals who commit a lot of our acts, I mean, that's pretty telling to me. So that's what we do. We target specific and we take these guys out. See some cameras up here. We run with our DPW, the city-owned cameras. We protect our assets. We watch our assets. You can see City Hall over there. It's open 24/7, so we keep an eye on that. People go in there. People have weddings there. We actually watched the wedding up there the other day, kind of inadvertently. It was kind of funny to watch. I didn't know what was going on, and we saw the bride and the groom walking down the middle of City Hall. Interesting stuff. But this goes to show you we protect our assets. But we are going to have over 500 cameras citywide. We have 200 plus right now that we can access at any given moment. So if we have an incident in a park or outside on the city street, and I got to stress the fact that we're not here to look inside anybody's front door, anybody's windows. We're here to protect our public streets. That's what we do with our city-owned cameras. There are other things that people permit us into if they want us to see inside, but that's on them allowing us in their front door. It's no different than me knocking, saying, "Can I come in?" And I'll talk about that stuff in a minute. More of our scrolling intel board here, more camera stuff. Our ShotSpotter program, which is very exciting. Prior to deploying ShotSpotter, we did a study and we realized we were only getting 911 calls on, say, about 15% of our actual shot fired incidents. I mean, think about that, 15%. This has brought us up to well over 80% accuracy at this point. So we're getting 80%. We have what we call the Lima Bean in the middle of the city. We ran this initially several years ago as a pilot project. We realized how effective this project is. As of last Monday, we started deploying citywide. By March 31st, we're going to cover 11.25 square miles, and the way it's designed is to hit every single residence in the city of Hartford. So if you live in Hartford or you're in Hartford, you will be protected by ShotSpotter. That'll get us there faster. It'll get us there with no 911 call. And I'll give you an example, and I'll talk about this one all the time. This comes down to our phones. This goes down to our cruisers as well. What happens is it basically triangulates a gunshot with 80% accuracy. It's vetted out in California with a human ear and a computer machine that's been kind of acoustically tuned to Hartford. Every time there's a misfire or something they get wrong, we send them a little note, and they kind of tweak the system Hartford specific based on our topography. What it does is then it comes back to us within about 15 seconds, and it tells us whether it's a single gunshot, multiple gunshots, and there's another one for possible gunfire. So they can't determine. But that acoustic gear and that computer is scrubbed through both, and they have an 80% accuracy rate over there as well. They hold themselves to that standard, and they actually let people go if they can't compete with that. So that comes back to us within 15 to 20 seconds. We go there, it triangulates a gunshot, it tells me where it is within 25 meters accuracy. It's actually more like 7 meters is what we're finding. So I'll give you 2 examples of how this is great. First, once we get we had a shots fired call, say we had one on a certain street, say on Main Street, happened on 300 Main, but the only 911 call that came in was 1 Main. If 1 Main called that in, that's where we would respond, because we don't know where else to go. With this, I look on my phone, I see the pin drop, or I look on my computer MDT, I can see where the pin drops. I actually go to where that is. I find casings, I find victims that I wouldn't have found in the past. An instance was about a month and a half ago. I was driving around in the North End with Michelle, one of the intel analysts. We were driving over by Capon Street. We had a shots fired incident that hit my phone. Turned around, we were 2 blocks away. We responded. Before the 911 call came in, we were administering CPR to that young man who had been shot in the neck. So if that's not a success story, I don't know what is. And we'll probably have hundreds of those at this point in the last several years. This happens all the time. We get there all the time. So this is a great program that's going to be even better by March 31st, because 3 square miles is expanded to 11.25 square miles.